Smelly cat, it's not your fault.
A modern podcast where Chris and Mike talk about TV, movies, superheroes, and everything in between. It's time for Superhero Slate.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Superhero Slate, the show where we run down the latest superhero entertainment news.
We love TV, movies, and superheroes, so let's talk it all out.
My name's Chris Dillard.
And my name's Mike Royer.
And today's show talks about Suicide Squad images, Batman rumors,
Okay.
Jessica Jones teasing us,
Hey.
and more.
Oh, man, if you can't tell, I sound a little horsey.
Mike today is our pony, because he's a little hoarse. But see, that's the thing. Had we recorded this yesterday, I didn't have a voice. And you can probably hear a little bit in me today, but I feel for you, Mike. I feel for you.
As podcast hosts, are we supposed to start taking better care of our voices? Like, I'm guessing there's like singers out there that are like being really, really careful with their voice boxes because it's like profession. But we don't care. We don't care that much. Apparently.
That's exactly what I was thinking yesterday. I'm like, how do like singers go on tours like year long and not lose their voice like whenever they get sick or something?
Yeah, it's just like you got sick and your voice kind of went out. I just went to a Halloween party and just talked too loud over the music. I mean, that's all it was for me.
Wow. I really hope you plug the Superhero Slate at this party to lose your voice at.
I don't know. It depends on how much I remember.
Oh, well, even better. That's a good party.
Yeah, it's been a recovery day. Star Wars was a hot topic at the party. That seemed to be something that you could easily bring up with just about anybody. I actually I didn't even initiate the Star Wars conversations. It seems to be just a fever going through Los Angeles right now. I had people asking me if I had my tickets yet, so I went through the whole story of like how I got my tickets, how I got them early, and I even came across this couple that were rewatching the Star Wars movies because they were fans and they hadn't bought their tickets yet, and like when they said they didn't have their tickets, everybody was like with this like hushed tone, and they're being silently judged. It was humorous.
No, this sounds like it was like a party full of friends, like a friend party kind of deal.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, because I had a work party for Halloween on Friday in a mansion.
Okay.
my boss's in-laws, I mean, they have a bartender and 4 butlers on staff at all time.
Jeez.
Their walk-in closet is 2 stories tall, has a spiral staircase in it, and an elevator.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it was quite the thing. Their downstairs had a karaoke bar, so not having a voice got me out of it.
Oh my gosh.
But I found out that one of the owners of my company, his cousin, invented BB-8. Like, is one of the inventors of BB-8.
Wow, that's awesome.
And he works out in out west, I guess, with you in that area, working on that kind of stuff. So
that's so rad.
So it was a small world, but I mean, we had one Jedi at the party, believe it or not, even though he looked more like Friar Tuck. But that was good.
Yep.
What did you dress up as? I know you have a Han Solo outfit waiting in your closet.
So I think it's really funny when it comes to Halloween costumes. I feel like everybody who is going to dress up for Halloween has all these elaborate ideas about 6 weeks out. And then once it starts to get closer and closer, you start to realize, oh, I ran out of time to order things online and have them shipped. Oh, I ran out of time to go to a store and find something. Oh, no, I ran out of time to make something.
Oh, no, the party's in an hour. What can I do?
So when you get down to it, you have to kind of stick with something that you already have. So I was just like, well, this is fine. I've gone to plenty of Comic-Cons. I have costumes. So I just recobbled together my Han Solo costume, and that worked pretty well. It was actually really funny. Someone at the party, they came in a couple's costume, and they were Ron Hubbard from Scientology, L. Ron Hubbard.
Yes.
And his companion was just like I guess it was just like a Scientology type person, and it just had like a little like like greetings from Scientology badge, and she was like handing out these slips. It was really funny. But the best part is she was wearing the exact same clothes that I was wearing, except she wasn't Han Solo. So she had like the white collared shirt on. She had like a black vest and everything. And when she walked into the party, I looked at her and I thought she was also Han Solo. Well, so later in the night, I ended up swapping like utility belts with her and accessories, and we took like a picture. So that's pretty funny. The Han Solo costume can multitask.
That explains why Star Wars was a hot topic with you at this party, because you were of course Han Solo.
Yeah.
I took the Dumb and Dumber approach with the blue tuxedo.
Yeah, I saw that.
And a lot of people got it, believe it or not. So I was pretty happy with that. And I'm trying to think of who else was around. There was nothing that stuck out at the party I was at. I mean, they're all older people with families. So I think one lady got her husband to dress up as Buddy the Elf from Elf, and that was pretty entertaining. But
I think one of my personal favorites from the party last night was someone dressed as Dr. Evil. And he pulled off the Doctor look evil really, really well. But the best part is he had like this Vern Troyer. I don't know if it was like a toy or what was like swaddled in front of him. So he had Mini-Me, and the most hilarious part about it is like I went up to him and I asked him, I was like, "Where did you get that from?" And he's just like, "Oh, my sister just had it." And then it's just like you just happen to have a little Vern Troyer.
Only in LA, man.
Only in
LA. I tell you, before we jump into this, there are 3 Halloween costumes I absolutely despise simply because they've been overplayed.
Okay.
The first off is the Sandlot, the Wendy Peppercorn and Mince.
Oh yeah.
Or Squints or whatever that guy's name is. That one. I've seen like 4 of those this year. Fucking Bob's Burgers.
I saw a couple of those online. I didn't see any in person.
Yeah, that is blowing up everywhere. And then I happened to get on Imgur one day, and it was all over there too. So I mean, I don't watch Bob's Burgers, but like I feel like that's the overplayed one this year. And then lastly is Walking Dead.
Okay, yeah, like the Walking Dead's somewhat easy to do because it just kind of comes down to sometimes just normal clothes. With blood on it. I saw on a lot of.
Well, I'm talking more about the Rick character.
Oh, gotcha. That's what our friend of the show Quentin dressed as. He has an older Rick costume. Well, I guess now if you're gonna be Rick, you have to play him by season. So this might have been season 1.
Season 1 Rick, yeah, okay.
Yeah,
Quentin was
when he
season
still
1
kind of looked. Yeah, but I saw an awful lot of Marty McFly's. Whether it was the orange vest. Or whether it was like the futuristic one, with like carrying a hoverboard around with you. So I think I'm getting kind of tired of the group costumes where you just are only in the group so you can be lazy. So you brought up the Sandlot, which is a great way to say like no one in the Sandlot looks very good on their own. You just look like someone that's dressed in normal clothes. So it's just like the merits of a group costume are very, very weak when you absolutely all have to be together. It just doesn't work. Yeah. Like a group costume for like Peanuts characters, that works because each Peanuts character has like their own very distinct look, and you can kind of be like, oh, you're definitely Charlie Brown, or oh, you're definitely Linus.
I'd say that goes well for people who do Mario Kart costumes as well.
Yeah.
So I totally get you. So, but yeah, those don't go. Listeners, do not go as those 3 groups of costumes, please.
Yeah.
And if you did, don't tell me.
Yeah, but before we move into the news, I was going to ask you. We've had this conversation in private once, but we have both stated that we are not horror movie people. We have not seen a lot of scary movies, or at least the classics. So, did you indulge in anything this holiday season?
I accidentally saw The Great Pumpkin Charlie Brown. It was on in place of I think the Muppets one week.
Okay.
And I watched it, but I did not. Did you?
Yeah, that's got to be the softest Halloween movie choice I could think of.
Yeah, I mean, it's not horror; it's Halloween themed. But I did not take part in any of those. Did you?
Yeah. Well, I mean, as the regular listeners would know, this has been my my bachelor lifestyle week because my wife is over in Europe right now. So I had all these grand plans of all these things that I was going to watch, but obviously I just got lazy and I've been picking stuff off Netflix. But I finally got around to watching Snowpiercer,
congratulations!
Which is totally not a horror movie in any realm, but it was an awesome sci-fi movie. And I thought it worked really, really well, and it's kind of cool now to watch Chris Evans in a different light outside of Captain America. It's kind of a nice refresher to see him be a little bit of a different character.
Yeah, he pulled that off really well. I mean, beforehand, he was in Not Another Teen Movie, and he was Human Torch in Fantastic Four, and Scott Pilgrim versus the World. He was one of the boyfriends.
He's in this awful. It's just so cliche and by the numbers.
Is it Push?
No. It's a romantic comedy with Anna Faris, and it's so bad. I think it's called like My Number or By the Number or something. I don't know.
Okay.
It's awful. Sometimes I get subjected to these things. When you have a wife that likes romantic comedies. Sometimes they're good, but this one's specifically bad, so stay away from that one.
Yeah, okay, so you like Snowpiercer then?
Yes, it was really interesting. I liked, no spoilers because I think you can assume when you see the trailer for this movie that people are going to die in it, but I liked how they unconventionally killed people at different points in the movie. Like, you think a character, like, oh, this character is definitely going to last until the third act, and there'll be some sort of emotional thing when this character dies. Like, nope, we're going to kill him off, like, in the first act, get it out of the way. And then, we think this hostage is gonna last. Nope, we're just gonna kill off that hostage pretty quick.
Yeah, it's true. So, Chris Evans was the Human Torch before in the old Fantastic Four. Well, his buddy in that movie is actually the guy who was Ben Grimm in the recent Fantastic Four movie. Jamie Bell.
That's right, yeah.
So I like to imagine it's a Fantastic Four movie we'll never get. But I'm glad you liked it. Yeah, it was one of those things I finally sat down and watched, and I recommend that to people as well. Mm-hmm. So, but I'm excited. Not horror for movies. Right now marks the Thanksgiving movie season.
Oh, yeah.
And there's only one I can think of.
James Bond?
Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
Oh, I thought you were talking about movies that were coming out.
No. Planes, Trains, and Automobiles is set during Thanksgiving. And yeah. I get to watch that as many times as I want up until Thanksgiving, even though people may hate me for rewatching it a lot.
Yeah, but that movie's just, it's like technically Thanksgiving. It has nothing to do with Thanksgiving, really. It's just kind of around it.
Right, exactly. But I mean, I'm not going to watch Christmas movies until after Thanksgiving. Mm-hmm. And I'm not going to watch horror movies after Halloween. So this movie on repeat will get me through the month.
Well, you're going to have to set aside time for Jessica Jones, I think.
Yeah, we will. We'll get to that. So let's jump into Suicide Squad. How about that?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, let's start off right. So Suicide Squad released a bunch of images early on in this week. Mm-hmm. I got some links below, and we're going to talk about a few in particular. I'm going to talk about the magazine covers. Mm-hmm. So the first one we saw was the Joker.
Yeah, and that's probably not the best way to start off the image of week.
That's true. But so we get the Joker on the cover of Empire magazine holding what appears to be a pimp cane and a pimp coat and sweatpants.
Yeah, it has to be intentional, I feel like.
So I did find out a lot of his tattoos are based, like a lot of him is based on the Mexican cartel. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of like where the tattoos come from, is because, Mexican cartel like tattoo themselves elaborately. And you can kind of see it in like the writing of the Joker. But I am not feeling this.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of have two specific opinions on the images as a whole and this image in particular. So, first of all, I think it looks like awful, so I'll get that out there. It looks weird. It's just very visually jarring from what we're used to seeing into a Joker. So it really puts you on the edge. It gets you kind of worried. But then at the same time, then I start to come back around and I start thinking about like, okay, this is going to be a very different movie. And I think that's something that Warner Brothers is going to need. Warner Brothers could very easily take a safe approach to a Suicide Squad movie, and they could keep these characters, I don't know, relatively normal. So I kind of like the idea that the Joker is just like totally turned on its head, but I could still kind of see this character drawn into a page. You know, he seems kind of strange out of context. You know, maybe if we get to see him, you know, interact a little bit more in a trailer, maybe we'll be sold on him a little bit more. But, you know, right now my emotions are mixed, but at least there's a little excitement behind him.
Yeah, so I definitely think that his color scheme does not fit into what we've been shown of this movie thus far, and maybe that's what kind of is jarring about it. Like, he's a brighter color, more kind of, I wouldn't say flamboyant, but, you know, he sticks out like a sore thumb when you compare it to our next image of the Enchantress, who is, I did not expect the Enchantress to be so scantily clad, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
So this is, I think, what I assume is the one of the villains of the film. I don't think she's going to be part of the squad. I think they are going to be working together to take her down. But it's very spooky. This is a very unsettling image, and I think that works to its advantage.
Yeah, you know, I'll be really interested to see if your theory pans out, just because when we've seen Enchantress before, we've seen her in a group with all the other characters.
But we have not in the trailers.
Yeah, that's true, but it was just a teaser, so who knows? Maybe she's just a character that's just not going to pop up too often. I don't know, because she's just very, like you said, she's very scantily clad, and it seems pretty impractical, you know, for any sort of, like, Suicide Squad mission they may go on. So I have a feeling that just this might be a costume just for the sake of a magazine cover, honestly, and I don't think maybe this is the Enchantress we're going to get throughout the film. But it is pretty dark.
So I'm going to go on the opposite, and I think this is the Enchantress. I think she has, like, the Egyptian magician, like, magic look to her. Like, that's, like, something you'd see in Egypt, right? Or, like, older times. Like, maybe Incans or Mayans. And she's covered in mud and some, like, stuff all over her. And I think this is what we're going to see. For me, this is what I think. And it's just unsettling, and I like it in that kind of way.
Yeah, I mean, it works in that direction if that's what you're going for.
Right, which brings me to the next cover I enjoy is Deadshot. The Empire Deadshot cover looks kind of like a video game, to be honest.
Yeah, a little bit.
If you're playing Will Smith as a video game, he looks like Uncle Phil from The Fresh Prince with his bald and beard. But this Deadshot, compared to the one I've seen in Arrow, I like this one much better.
Yeah, it's still kind of strange. I'm going to have to see how Deadshot looks on screen, just because I'm very sensitive to costumes in superhero movies or TV shows that look like football pads, which is kind of what this one's looking like, because you can kind of just see the lack of budget. I'm sure that's not the problem with Suicide Squad. They have all the money in the world. But it's usually what you see on a TV show when you bring in like a hero or a villain or like a villain of the week. You know, just like, oh, we need to cobble together a costume. Just go buy a bunch of like football and like all these different like sports pads and just bring them into the office and we'll spray paint them and like put them together. So I'm kind of getting the vibe here with this costume. But, I have higher hopes when it actually gets on the screen. But there's one thing that keeps going through my head. So, I think it's really easy to look at these and judge them, but we all did the same thing when we saw the guy who played Quicksilver in Days of Future Past.
Right. From Days of Future Past. Right.
Yeah, we all saw his magazine cover and we're like, oh, he looks like 100% dweeb. So, but that ended up not being totally wrong. He played the role great. So, yeah, I think we can get some little details out of these magazine covers, but I don't think we're going to get everything that we want.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. These don't strike me as horrible. I'm not revolted by these covers. Yeah. And that's kind of something I'm looking at here, because Deadshot we've seen has a white mask that he's not wearing on this cover. Because, Will Smith's face is going to sell. The Enchantress is a model / actress now, Cara Delevingne something. Her name's Kara. She's a DJ on Grand Theft Auto 5, actually. So there's that. But the last cover brings us to is a Harley Quinn cover. And she looks like she's having fun.
Yeah, it's very much the same Harley Quinn that we've seen in the other, like, set photos and things like that. So that one seems to be pretty on point. I think out of all these magazine covers, the Joker is definitely the one that's kind of stood out the most. He looks just like a pimp. And Harley Quinn kind of just, she stayed the course what we've seen so far. So no big surprises here yet.
Right. So my last question on these covers before I end is, what made them choose these 4 characters?
Okay.
Because I get it. Will Smith is a seller, right? He's I think the biggest name on the bill. Harley Quinn, she is a fan favorite. Everyone wants to be Harley Quinn for Halloween as well.
Yeah, and plus people know the actress.
Right. Her and Will Smith were both in Focus, the movie that recently came out last year. But then we have the Joker. Okay, they want to shock us with the Joker. Great,
yeah,
I get it.
That one's good.
And then the Enchantress is the one why are they choosing her over anyone else who you think might be on the squad? And that's why, again, I think she is the antagonist that they bring the squad together to defeat. But that was just my guess. Do you have any thoughts off the top of your head on that?
It would kind of be interesting if that much thought went into it, but honestly, I think it's just coming down to we need 2 women and 2 men. So let's just throw the Enchantress in there because she's visually interesting. I think that's probably about as in depth as it goes, but I hope it's more than that. I'd like there to be a little bit more to it.
Yeah, hopefully we'll get a trailer soon with Batman versus Superman, or maybe an after credit scene to kind of lead us into this.
Yeah.
Which kind of gets me to our next point: Batman, a solo film.
Yeah, we've talked about this a little bit in the past.
Right, so, everyone wants Ben Affleck to do 3 Batman solo films, right? Where he could possibly direct them as well. So the newest solo film rumors, and I emphasize this rumors, is that Red Hood would be the villain of the film, and that the Joker and Nightwing would appear as well.
I think that would be a really, really cool choice. Obviously, if we ever wanted to see these characters in a Batman movie, this is the kind of time period that makes sense because this is later in Batman's career. This is, so far from a Batman origin story because there's so much history in these villains and heroes. So it makes sense. If this DC universe, comes and goes, whether it takes 10 years, 15 years to complete, however long it takes until everything cycles again in this world, we might never get the Red Hood and Nightwing because who knows if the Batman will be rebooted as an origin, a couple decades down the line or not.
Right. So I think I lean towards this as being true. I hopeful because, we had the Red Hood animated film a couple years ago that blew up. It was huge. People loved it. And then Joker, Nightwing, this Death in the Family story from the comics is really heavily influenced on the Batman Arkham Knight game. Which selling gangbusters. I love that game. That was a great game. So I really think that would be an interesting way. And we've not seen the Red Hood come into the movie universes yet. They haven't touched him in all the Batman films.
Yeah, that's gonna be a lot of Robin groundwork that the movie's gonna have to cover for sure. That's kind of the cool thing about Batman. A lot of people are very familiar with Batman, and they've never read a Batman comic. They've never seen a Batman cartoon show. Batman's just been on the big screen forever, and we've only ever gotten Robin on the screen, twice? I think it's only been twice. It was with
well, if you include the Dark Knight Rises.
No, I don't think I'd really count that so much.
Okay, and not the 1960s film. Then twice, yes.
Yeah. So it's just kind of like, and I think the average person that goes to see the movie is not going to understand, how much Robin is involved with these 2 characters. So I'm kind of curious if it is a trilogy. Is this something that they're gonna slow play? Maybe they're gonna have this information leak out throughout 3 films, or maybe this is just gonna be film number 1. It's gonna be the Red Hood and Nightwing, and then maybe film number 2 they move on to something else.
The theory, the reason this is so popular right now is that the Red Hood has been haunting Batman for years, and he's a person writing on the stuff in the Batman versus Superman trailer, like on the Robin costume and on the thing that says you couldn't save everyone and stuff like that. That was kind of back to that. So it's a rumor. I think the consensus here between both of us is we'd like to see it.
Yeah, it sounds great. It's kind of one of those things where it's like when you're looking at a Batman movie trilogy, you're going to get Joker in there at least once. He's a premier villain, so it's just like, okay, what other villains are good that aren't just kind of generic monsters? It's like, oh, well, the Red Hood would be a great villain. It'd be kind of interesting to see maybe if we could work in a proper Mr. Freeze at some point in time. I think that could be cool, but who knows?
Yeah, well, speaking of Mr. Freeze, that's a great segue into our next segment. Gotham has cast Mr. Freeze.
Oh, man, people are still watching that show?
Apparently they are. We are not. I've not heard anyone tell me I should be watching it at this point. But Mr. Freeze is joining, and his wife, Nora Freeze. But the biggest thing with Gotham, they've cast B.D. Wong as Hugo Strange.
All right.
B.D. Wong, as you'll know, is in Jurassic Park and Jurassic World as the scientist who created the dinosaur in Jurassic World, the main bad dinosaur. And Hugo Strange is someone who is, I think, in one of the Arkham games, he found out Batman's identity. And he's just kind of been plaguing Batman. But, I mean, since we don't have Batman in Gotham, I don't know how they're going to implement that.
Yeah.
That's really about it. I don't have much else to talk about Gotham other than the fact that we're not watching it.
Yeah, we've talked about this plenty of times, but it's just a show that we necessarily can't make time for, and there's not enough people out there clamoring saying that this is like a must-see show. I know there's people out there that watch it week by week and like it, which is great. That's totally awesome for you, but it's just, I don't think it's just anything that's really like throwing down the gauntlet when it comes to superhero shows. So yeah. I mean, the counterpart kind of the show, it sounds like maybe in the future might be the Krypton show, and we're not too excited about that either. I guess we're just not a fan of origin city shows.
Yeah, the things that don't involve the actual superhero.
It's just like a big tease, I feel like.
Yeah, well, hey, this thing could happen, right? Maybe later. I don't know. Well, what about Supergirl? Did anyone out there watch Supergirl this week?
I don't know. I think I want to start hearing what people are thinking about the show since it's officially out now. We've only had the pilot so far, so I don't think we're going to have a real impression of what the show might be like until maybe about 3 episodes in. So
are you going to be watching it on Monday / next week?
I don't know if it's going to be a night of type of show. I think it's a show I'll get around to watching maybe at some point throughout the week, maybe when I don't have anything else to watch. But I want to keep up with it because I just want to see how well it goes. It's on CBS, and CBS is a huge network that puts lots of popularity behind their shows because they got lots of really high-end sitcoms. So I'm curious how this is going to work out for them.
Yeah, so I was talking to one of my friends, a girl who watched Supergirl on Tuesday, or I guess Monday, and she asked me if I watched it. I said, no, I haven't yet. And we started talking about it, and I was asking her questions, how does it work since Kara was older whenever she left Krypton? How did Superman get older than her? And they explained that apparently, and some other stuff, and we got to talking, and the more we talked about it, she's like, the more I talk about the show, the more I feel it's mediocre. Like, the initial impression for her was better, but the more she thought about it...
You ruined her.
I did. Well, the thing is, I didn't tell her my impression. I just asked questions about it. And she's like, the more I think about it, the more it just kind of slips into mediocrity in my mind. So, I mean, I'm not against it. I will probably watch the pilot sooner than later. But I am... Again, this week I've been sick, and Halo 5 came out, so I'm really behind on, like, Doctor Who... and Heroes, which I dread watching, even despite the fact I'm going to finish out the season. But I will get to Supergirl, I promise everyone. But if you've watched it, let us know what you think of it.
Yeah, I think we should. We'll check in on the show. I want to say about 3 episodes in, and we'll give our premiere, our initial premiere thoughts. It'll be interesting just because pilots for any show are always, they're always loose and there's a lot to be established. So you always can't make a decision off of one episode.
I did see some screenshots for the next, they showed here's what's coming up this season, and that robot we talked about, the Red Tornado, looks even stupider than the first picture. So I mean, I look forward to maybe making fun of that.
All right.
Well, Civil War is the thing that's happening.
Yeah, that's the next big Marvel joint.
Yes, and we're going to light that up and smoke it, to say the least. But the trailer for it is rumored to be in 2 places.
Okay.
to drop before Spectre, the James Bond movie, in Russia on November 6th. So that's this week. Or they're saving it for Star Wars.
Yeah, so this is actually something I'm glad we're talking about, because the last time we talked about the, I guess the initial drop of this trailer is a lot of people assumed October. I guess there were some timelines that people were roughing out. Oh, how long does it take for Marvel to release a trailer in front of the release of the film? And I guess October was kind of where things were settling. And, obviously October came and went. Halloween's over and we didn't get the film. So then you start thinking, are they going to wait and put it in front of Star Wars, which would be an amazing place to put it because it's in front of a Disney film. It's going to be the biggest film of the year without a doubt. I would easily put money on that. So
bigger than Batman versus Superman.
Oh, I think Star Wars is going to blow Batman and Superman out of the water.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you meant Civil War. I apologize.
No.
I was like, that's going to be close. But yeah, I get what you're saying. Continue.
Yeah, so, it makes me wonder, like, if it is going to come out in front of Spectre, this week, we will be hearing something probably on Monday. If you're listening to this podcast on Monday, we might already have the answer of when we're going to see the Civil War trailer, because usually they let us know ahead of time to get us all psyched, and we get those pre-trailer things that are bizarre. We get like 10 seconds on Vine of it or whatever. Well,
here's where I start to go against the Spectre thing, because it's been out in England already. To save it for Russia's release, is kind of weird. Despite the fact, the Winter Soldier being a part of it. But I mean, Star Wars is just so late to start promoting a movie that has to beat Batman versus Superman, because it's May. That's 5 months, and
I think you meant to say Civil War has a lot.
I'm sorry, Civil War. Yeah, Civil War has a lot to gain in 5 months versus Batman versus Superman, and Age of Ultron also did that, but they came out in October. They were letting it early build that hype train, right? But I mean, Civil War has so much competition. I think it needs to start that ball rolling sooner rather than a month away.
Yeah, I think it's safe to say we will have the trailer by the time Star Wars comes out. But I think also they don't want to do that because I feel like Civil War is going to get lost in the noise of Star Wars. I think just the entire week that Star Wars comes out is going to be huge. People are going to be talking about it. People are going to be making blog posts about the film, about the trilogy, about the history. People are going to be making webcomics about it. We're going to be making stuff to talk about the hype for Star Wars coming out. So I think a Civil War release trailer is just going to get lost. It's going to get lost in the mix. It'll just come and go really quickly. So it doesn't make sense to premiere it in front of Star Wars, but it makes sense to put it in front of Star Wars if it premiered in November.
So regardless, we are going to watch the Civil War trailer before Star Wars, but we want it to come out this month.
Yeah, because usually if it's coming out in front of a film, usually it actually doesn't premiere in the film. We'll actually get it online safely on a Monday or a Tuesday beforehand. So it'll still be coming out during that week though. So I think November, but I don't think it's going to be attached to Spectre. I don't think it's going to be attached to any sort of movie release or anything. They're just going to be like, hey, we're Marvel. We don't need a movie to piggyback our trailers on. Our trailers are huge, a big enough deal on their own. They're just going to pick a week in November and go with it. They'll probably maybe avoid maybe the week of Thanksgiving. Maybe they think too much hubbub is going on around there. So who knows? Maybe in a week or two.
Well, see, the thing is, it has now been over 1 year since the Marvel Phase 3 lineup was announced randomly on a Thursday. So I'm kind of hoping that they just do it. Like I said, they don't attach it to a film release. They just do it and get it out of the way. Because internet clicks count, man.
Yeah. Who knows? You lucky Monday listeners, you might have the answer already.
Yeah.
And we're just talking. We're just talking for no reason right now. We might already know.
And we might see Spider-Man in that trailer.
Oh, that's the big question.
Yeah. So that brings us to our next point. Spider-Man's got some updates as well. Tom Holland, the actor who will be playing Spider-Man in Marvel Spider-Man in 2017, has posted a new picture of his haircut online.
Yeah.
And I'm calling it the ultimate haircut.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. He looks just like Ultimate Peter Parker.
That's right. He does have the Ultimate Peter Parker hair. He's in the right age. I mean, it's the longer hair down about to his, covers his eyes and split down the middle, same color. I mean, you couldn't draw. You draw this guy, you'd think it was Ultimate Peter Parker. Yeah. Straight up, man.
Yeah, he looks great, and geez, he's jacked for a teenager.
He has been working out. He's got physique. I mean, for what it's worth, this guy is going to be athletic and look like a superhero on screen without hardly any effort. But my question is, this movie comes when is this movie starting to film? Because does this guy not have anything else to do in the meantime? I figure actors did other movies, waiting on their other ones, but.
Yeah, well, he may be an actor, but you got to remember he's a teenager, and I don't know if you remember when you were a teenager, but we had nothing but free time when we were that age. So, I'm sure he's probably just playing Halo 2, hanging out with his friends, getting jacked, being Spider-Man on the side.
I'm sure he's playing Halo 2, but yes, yeah. But
Halo as well.
Yeah. So I mean, does this mean you think we're gonna see Spider-Man attached to the end of Doctor Strange, maybe like a tease?
I don't know, because, when it comes to Spider-Man, you were saying earlier, are we going to see him in the trailer? And we kind of compared Spider-Man to Vision when we were talking about Ultron. I think we both said they might treat it the same way, where we don't get, a glimpse of Spider-Man until maybe the very last Civil War trailer.
Well, I'm saying, is he going to be at the end of Doctor Strange? Is his movie, is the end of that movie going to lead into...
you think there's going to be a post-credit scene involved with Spider-Man?
Well, for Doctor Strange that leads into Spider-Man, yeah. They always do them 2 movies in advance, if you go back and look.
It's possible.
So, I mean, I don't know. He's doing it early, and I like that. He's dedicating to the art of Spider-Man. So, I mean, I'd watch it. Would you?
I think it's safe to say we'd watch it.
I mean, I don't want to sound like the Subway guy over here, but I mean, he's going to be a great Spider-Man. We mentioned Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
So the director, Scott Derrickson, his movie Sinister, which kind of got him put on the map, his co-writer for that movie, C. Robert Cargill, is supposedly on set for Doctor Strange while he's filming it.
Oh, okay.
Now, does Mr. Cargill, is he writing Doctor Strange as well? I doubt it. But he was there to help on the set of Sinister, help make sure that the script was translating to the movie well, rather than just assuming what he was read from the script was right from the writer.
Yeah, he's probably just bringing in some trusted friends. Just be like, hey, man, I got this giant movie. I don't know if you've heard of it. It's called Doctor Strange. Can you roll in on the set and make sure that everything is solid before we start filming this blockbuster?
Yeah, so the Cargill guy, he's moved temporarily to London for several months while they film it. So I think he's going to be there quite a bit. If I was a betting man. So, I mean, that's that's useless news, but that's interesting to know that, they're bringing other people in.
Yeah.
They're not just oh, we got this. We know the Marvel formula.
Yeah, it's always kind of cool when you can see people get in the mix. I like the idea that Doctor Strange has a lot of horror resume building stuff behind it.
Yeah, and I think that's going to make it feel different and be a great addition to the Marvel universe.
Yeah.
A lot like Jessica Jones will be. That's this month. We are 19 days away.
Yeah, we are so close.
And I am excited. Are you excited?
Oh, I'm pretty stoked, man. I need something else to watch on Netflix besides the Great British Baking Show, which, don't knock it, it's pretty good.
Well, we watch Daredevil.
Yeah, I got. There's so many things I need to watch. I just get stuck into these food shows because I like looking at food, man.
You got problems, dude. You might want to get that looked at. But the first another image of the Purple Man has leaked, and we talked about this I think on Monday. Or not leaked, it was released, and he looks like he's on a set. It appears to be in a church. If I was a Batman, and he might be at a microphone singing. If we were to guess.
Yeah, this is kind of the first time we've seen David Tennant in full body in any sort of promotional work. In the trailer he was just like a shoulder here, or like a blazer sleeve there. This is kind of the first we've seen him in his whole purple getup besides a set photo.
Yeah. So I mean, in the comic books he uses pheromones to kind of suggest people to do things, and we kind of got that in the trailer. He's like, hey, you want to let me in. And he's like, okay. And that guy let him into his apartment. So in this one, I think if he's on front of a microphone, think of like the power he has of suggestion when he's talking to a large group of people over a microphone. So that's kind of what I was getting at this, and we see Jessica kind of walking towards him. I don't think she's charging. I think she's kind of cautiously walking up to him. But I don't know. I'm ready for this series to land and go. But we also got a motion poster for this, and the only reason I include the motion poster is that at the end of it, David Tennant looks really... whoever painted him made him look really weird.
Yeah, well, that's one thing that I was going to bring up, too, is... since I've never watched Doctor Who, the only time I've ever actually seen David Tennant in anything is just always Doctor Who, like, fan art or something. Just random stuff on, like, Reddit popping up. So, like, I don't know this guy in any other context. So I'm hoping I can get over that when the show premieres.
I think you'll be fine since you don't watch Doctor Who. You won't have that connection. But also, Daredevil is going to appear in Jessica Jones at some point.
Yeah, I think that's awesome.
I kind of assumed he would show up eventually, but like, kind of walk by in the background. But I mean, who knows how he's going to appear? So we're going to get Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, and Daredevil all in the same series.
Ooh, tantalizing. Now we just got to figure out where the fourth piece of the puzzle is.
Yeah, right, and that's kind of where I bring my next point. Iron Fist is my next point. How did you know?
We are on top of our segues today.
We are going right through these. So
this is just the most fluid show. We definitely had our fiber today.
Somebody did. So Iron Fist. This is a rumor only. Rumor.
Okay.
Okay. I want to emphasize that strongly out of anything ever. That Iron Fist will be a movie instead of a show.
Now, when you say movie, I'm guessing you're saying Netflix movie.
Yes, not a cinematic movie. Sorry, there I dropped a coaster. I had to pick it up. But Iron Fist, like the rumor also goes on to kind of say that Punisher will take Iron Fist's place on the Defenders, and Iron Fist will still get a movie though. Because they can't really crack it, but with a movie they can put more money into it.
Yeah. I'm starting to wonder maybe if these rumors are just cropping up just because we haven't seen anything official from Iron Fist yet, so just people's speculation is running wild. Maybe this is just a fact of people not being patient. Maybe there's actually like people out there that are just like, oh no, we're still definitely making Iron Fist. We have him up here on this whiteboard in the Marvel office. We still have all the plans ready to go, but they're just like we're just time-wise, they're just not there yet. So, I think if there's gonna be Iron Fist, we're gonna know for sure in 2016.
Yeah, so this kind of comes from a source that I think they hit something else once, and this is kind of like their second thing they've noted. So like, there's a little credibility behind it, but again, this is what I'm saying, super rumor. Like I think they picked up on that that they once picked up on something. Either way, but Iron Fist replaced with Punisher. Punisher doesn't feel right in the Defenders, to be honest. But we're going to have to see how he lands in Daredevil next season as well. Because, I mean, if he's going to be a Defender, I figure they'd give him his own series rather than just a cameo or share with.
Yeah, and plus it seems like they're setting up the Punisher as a villain in Season 2 of Daredevil. I'm sure he'll flip at some point in time, or he'll just be the anti-hero. So we'll kind of see how he fits in that. But, I like the idea of the Punisher kind of just being his own man, not necessarily needing to be in a team.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I totally agree with you. So on the team front, Guardians of the Galaxy work really great as a team. And they've added somebody new to the roster for the second movie.
All right, so who did we add here?
They've added the actress Pom Klementieff.
Okay.
And she's signed for a key mysterious role. James Gunn has said before that the Guardians would add one member. And we are assuming that this is the member. This is a big assumption.
Okay.
My assumption is she will be playing Mantis, because this role she was cast in is ethnicity specific.
Okay.
Meaning she has to be Asian descent.
All right.
If you take a look, I don't know if you can Google search this, but Google search Mantis Marvel. And in the latest Marvel 2005 series of Guardians of the Galaxy, which a lot of the last movie took from, Mantis played a big part. She looks like she's green, has like bug ears, long hair. I mean, very similar to Gamora, but she is a telepath and knows a lot of martial arts because she was trained in that. If you look at her, she looks like she has like an Asian kind of vibe to her from the art. I'm actually gonna send a picture to Mike, which I will share with you on this. So if Mike, you'll check your phone for me, you can see where this ethnicity specific character, and this is a panel from the comic, would come into play.
Yeah, I could see how the look would work out well. I think it's kind of funny. This must be. I'm assuming that this character was invented or drawn early on, just because it's such an easy version of an alien. I just feel like back in the day they're just like, okay, we need to add another alien to the Guardians. What do we do? Change the skin color and give her antenna. There we go, alien.
So I'm gonna send you another picture of Mantis. Was actually created in the 70s, believe it or not. And she was not. I don't think she was part of the Guardians because they didn't exist back then. But the first version of her was very white and very like low cut, scantily clad, with the green things, like the green things still coming out of her hair. When she turned skin color green and started looking a little more Asian, was more in 2005 because they didn't use her for a while.
You know, it's always funny. Like we always assume aliens have antenna.
Yeah, well, especially with the name Mantis.
Yeah,
like it's very, 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 very typical. I guess. I mean, when I say Mantis, yeah, we get it. We know she's gonna look like a bug. Yeah, so that's kind of what's up with that. What do you think? I mean, I don't have any other ideas who she could be. But if she's not a like this, Mantis is a big part of the Guardians in 2005, and I think that's would be a great addition. We need more female characters in the movies, and
yeah, I think
a hero female would be great.
Yeah, that's always a good addition. I don't really have any opinions yet, just because I feel like whatever James Gunn is going to do, I feel like we can trust him. So, we'll just have to see. I'm kind of more curious in the fact that we're adding another character to the Guardians. I already felt like the dynamic in the group was already pretty good. So I'm just like, what's going to happen when we add a permanent member? I got a little overwhelmed in Ultron. I thought, like, okay, this is enough characters. I can't handle all this. This is too much. So I'm hoping we don't have that problem in the next Guardians.
Yeah, I think they'll juggle it pretty well. But what I found out also this week is Matthew McConaughey passed on the villain role for the film.
Oh, wow.
Guardians 2. And I assume it was probably the character, the Magus, which is the evil version of Adam Warlock, like his evil side. And I think Matthew McConaughey would have made a great villain, to be honest, especially for the Magus. And that's about it. What do you think? Matthew McConaughey, do you think he'd be good in a Marvel film?
Man, I think it'd be cool. I feel like I've heard his name pop up for other roles at some point in time. Just the Marvel machine is so gigantic. I feel like at some point in time, every actor is rumored for something. But yeah, if he actually passed on it, I'm kind of curious what he's doing instead. Maybe he likes to stick to things, I guess, less grand.
He turned down some. I think he read for some DC roles as well, and he said he didn't take any of those either.
Yeah, so maybe he's just not a superhero guy. Maybe he just wants to stick to more serious things,
like car commercials.
Hey, whatever pays the bills.
Yeah, like he needs that to pay his bills. Good Lord.
Yeah.
Well, did you ever finish Powers?
Man, I want to, but it's just one of the many problems, the many good problems we have where there's just so much to watch.
I would watch Powers before I'd watch Supergirl, but I didn't finish the season because there's no easy way to get this show. I'm going to be honest. You have to be a PlayStation Plus network member, or you're going to have to buy it whenever it came out. It might be on different things now. I didn't look. But Wil Wheaton was cast in the second season of the show.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
I don't know what character.
Wil Wheaton's a cool guy. Yeah, I don't know what character either because I don't think a lot of people out there are Powers buffs. So I don't know exactly what he would be attaching to, but I think that's cool. Wil Wheaton's a cool guy. He's got nerd cred. It's probably something that they need for the show.
Yeah, they probably do. And then this week he's been blowing up because of some stuff he's been writing. I mean, even he's been getting down with the Oatmeal, the artist. On that stuff. But yeah, Wil Wheaton, another name. I mean, getting Star Trek fans, they need something new while they don't have a TV show to watch. So maybe they'll watch that. Did you watch Power Rangers growing up?
Oh, of course I watched Power Rangers. Me and my brother were hardcore Power Rangers fans.
Which one was your favorite?
I would say just around the original timeline. it went through alterations. Obviously, I think we made it up to around the season that kind of integrated with the movie, the first Power Rangers movie, with like where they would turn into like ninjas and stuff like that. And I think after that, I started to kind of age out of it.
Okay, so if you let's go to the original Rangers. Okay, which one was your favorite Ranger?
Oh man, I think the Green Ranger was my favorite.
Everyone goes with green or white.
Yeah,
green or
because he
white.
was the coolest. He had like awesome, like he had a freaking like a Godzilla thing. He had like the crazy like knife flute. That was cool.
Yeah, and his Dragon Zord, definitely the awesomest, especially when it merged with the regular morphers or whatever. See, it's been so long. So, the new movie is coming out, and it's now called Saban's Power Rangers.
All right.
I mean, they were always, I think, it's always said Saban on they made the guy Haim Saban made the show, right? Like that's what he's known for. But he is now called Saban's Power Rangers because he made changes to the script, and the budget is apparently $35 million, which is kind of low for this movie. And they're not recasting the original Rangers, but they're using their names.
All right. I just honestly
it's really weird. I just
honestly I don't know how to feel about this movie just because, Power Rangers actually I think is still ongoing. If I remember correctly,
the movie will show the current Rangers in the beginning and then go to these new ones for the movie.
Yeah, so I'm kind of interested to see what market are they going for? Are they trying to appeal to the younger generation that grew up with Power Rangers, just like a lot of movies are doing now? Or are they just going to try to capitalize on kids right now that are currently watching Power Rangers? Because, it does not age well. I cannot go back and nostalgically watch Power Rangers because it's not a good... It's just not... It's so repetitive and it's just meant for kids. I just can't imagine there's people out there just like, oh, yeah, man, I can't wait to go through and rewatch all of the Power Rangers. It's just I don't think that happens. So
I tried that 5 years ago when they re-released the original series in 2010 and on Saturday mornings. And you tried to watch them and it hurt so bad.
It's just you might want to watch maybe a random episode maybe once on YouTube just to try to remember what it was like, but I think they're going to have to go in a pretty radical direction to get me to see this movie.
Yeah, but I mean, I have no idea. I'm not emotionally connected to it. I don't care either way. They could stop Power Rangers and I would never care. But I remember at the time, every kid goes through it. Every kid goes through that phase. And hopefully they do something different with it. Maybe do some justice. I don't know. I don't care enough. I'm sorry. I thought I would. I didn't.
I say we move along until we get some more juicy tidbits.
Oh, man. They got to be really juicy for me to bring this back up.
Yeah.
What about Alien 5?
Man, I don't know. I get so confused now just because of this this other Alien movie that's coming out from the original creator, so I don't know.
Yeah, so Alien 5 is the Neil Blomkamp one, the one that it takes place in the Alien timeline rather than the Prometheus timeline. They're all together, but this is not the Prometheus sequel, even though they're technically all Prometheus sequels. I'm confused already. I'm sorry. Neil Blomkamp confirms that Alien 5 is on hold for Prometheus 2's production.
Yeah, but isn't Prometheus 2 technically that other Alien movie that actually has Alien in the title?
It is now called Paradise Lost, Alien Paradise Lost. But takes place directly after Prometheus, whereas this one takes place after Alien Resurrection.
Yeah, I think I'm going to need some sort of a professional chart maker to come in here and make me a timeline so I can figure this out. But anyway, I saw some of that news this week, and I read some theories of people that are fans of the Alien movies, and some people are thinking maybe the studio is not too sure about Blomkamp maybe at this point in time. He's come out with mediocre films since District 9, and I'm kind of curious maybe if that's true. Maybe if they're just like, oh, let's let Blomkamp go out and do something else on his own, see if he can kind of get his mojo back with one of his own projects, and then if it goes well, we'll give him Alien back.
Well, see, I don't think that's it. I think they can only do one of these at a time because the Alien or Prometheus as moneymakers. Like, they're great, but they can only do one at a time.
Yeah, and I wonder maybe if the studio is kind of trying to maybe reposition themselves into a franchise, because that's what every studio wants. It's like they don't want to just reboot Alien for one movie. They want to reboot Alien for 6 movies and turn it into a franchise and make $1 billion+ off of it. So maybe they're just trying to reconfigure what they have.
Yeah, and plus you don't want these movies coming out at the same time. That's just going to confuse everyone, just like it confused us talking about them.
Yeah, exactly.
And I don't think it's a knock on Blomkamp, because I think he needs something where someone has already constructed the lore for him. Yeah. Because I don't think you can be very political about an Alien movie, whereas the last few were beating you over the head with his political undertones.
Yeah, and we've brought this up before, and we're both on the same page with Blomkamp, where we think he can produce great visuals, and we think he's a good director, but he definitely needs somebody else writing his work. I feel like he needs to concentrate on where he shines, which is definitely directing.
Yeah, totally agree. But the 5th thing in Halo also came out this week.
Oh, yeah, so we got Alien 5. We'll move on to Halo 5.
Yeah, there's a segue there.
Yeah, it sounds like we're gonna wrap up the news with this little segment, so what do you got for us?
Well, I beat it. It came out on Tuesday. I didn't get to play it until Thursday, if you can imagine how frustrating that is. But I beat it, and it's the first time I don't love a Halo game.
Oh, wow, so that's the initial thought right there.
It's good, but I'm not in love with it. I love the other ones, but I am not in love with Halo 5. Now, that's a campaign. Online is a different story. That's a blast. Fucking love that.
Yeah, that's always like the beast when it comes to these games. You know, when it comes to like first-person shooters where I know I'm going to be spending the bulk of my time in the multiplayer, I usually play the campaign just to kind of, not necessarily get it out of the way, but it's just like if I don't play the campaign, I'm never going to get around to it. So it sounds like you kind of maybe did something similar.
I can't play online. The only way I'm going to learn the controls are playing the campaign. Yeah. Like, I can't feel comfortable jumping into online and learning from there. So I played the campaign to learn all that and kind of get the story. I'm big into Halo. I have a lot of books, a lot of novels, comic books, stuff like that. I love Halo, but it's the first time I've liked it but not loved it.
Now, did this make the story even more confusing than it already was? Because I already can't follow what's going on in these games.
So I think everything else is pretty confusing, but this relies a lot on people who have read into other things other than just the games.
Oh, jeez.
So I would not recommend this. This is not a Mike Royer game, unless you're playing with somebody just to shoot people up. Like go shoot enemies up, because you can do 4-player online campaign, and you can drop it in and out, so you don't have to keep backing out to gain more people or lose people. So that's pretty good. But Halo 5, I would give it like a 7 out of 10.
All right.
And I might even raise it up the more I play online, but right now 7 out of 10.
Yeah. Well, we'll just have to see how this shakes out, because I think we wanted to bring friend of the show Quentin Parker on once he eventually gets around to getting in Halo 5, and you guys can have it out. I'd like to do kind of like a mini spoiler cast about just the Halo game and the franchise as a whole, just because I think it's so interesting and it's so deep. Even though it is very confusing, I can sometimes get lost going down Wikipedia pages in deep learning about Halo, and I'd love to hear you guys talk about it. And plus, on top of that, I'm probably not going to get around to playing it for a long time, so this might be my only real exposure to it.
Yeah, it sounds like a blast. So that's really it for that. I mean, that's it for news. Do you have anything else you want to add?
You know what? I don't think I've seen any other news besides what we covered. I think we did a thorough job, sir.
Great. Well, how about this? We got a new section today called Letters.
Ooh.
Because we got a letter this week.
Yeah, we did.
I didn't know about this. You actually told me about this because I think you're connected more into our email account than I am.
Yeah, well, I think it's just because I've set up forwarding from our email account to my email account, so I get this stuff a little bit sooner than you would.
You son of a bitch. But yeah, no. So we'd like to talk about one of our loyal listeners. We talked about him last week, Jim Mintier. The guy... thank you for listening to us, especially since we don't know you. I mean, we have a lot of friends and family who listen, but I mean, from someone, out of the blue who searched for us and found us, thank you so much for listening to us and coming back weekly, because we are obviously blubbering idiots at times. So he wrote in and talked about how he found us, about our San Diego Comic-Con podcast. Yeah, you were there. I was not, but I mean that was a great one. I loved it. I want to be there sooner than later. Mm-hmm. But he brought 3 things that we talk about, kind of. The first thing is, last week Mike went on a rant about physical copy versus digital copy media. And Jim says he likes to keep his physical media because when he purchases something, he likes to hold it in his hands. Mm-hmm. He wants the shiny paper, and I agree with him. Yeah. To an extent, this week I'm gonna use Halo 5 as an example. Mm-hmm. I pre-ordered the game because I want to play it the day it comes out. I take off Tuesday of work, and I'm gonna play this game. So I get it, and I wait in the mail. I wait for it to come in the mail, right? It doesn't come until 6:45 p.m.
Oh God.
So I took a whole day off of work for nothing. Except I needed it because I was sick. But if I got the digital copy, I wouldn't have to wait for it.
That's true.
But I have a whole row of Halo novels and Halo games, every Halo game ever made, on my shelf. And I need to own it. I'm the same way. I like both. I'm a happy medium guy.
Yeah, I think it's just the section in the part of your brain where it's just you want to be a completionist. You want to round out the collection.
Yeah, and also I think it depends on where you live. Like, I think the infrastructure for digital is really well built out in LA, right? Like, you don't have worries about your internet going out or, like, not having a place to access your digital things.
Yeah, it's totally going to depend on your bandwidth.
And, here in southern Indiana where I live, like, I go to my parents' house, I can barely send a text message across the internet there. So I still feel like I need to have both because I don't live in that area where digital is always going to be a viable option.
The struggle is real out there in the heartland.
It is true. It's true. And now my biggest problem is, do I buy the Blu-ray the combo without the DVD or with the DVD going forward? Because
We've had so many offline conversations about physical media. Jim doesn't even know the full extent of it at this point in time.
Yeah, so I mean, this is most of our conversations probably circle around this. And as my new Apple TV arrives in the mail tomorrow, I may be taking that digital turn sooner than later.
Ooh, Jim, what do you got to say about that?
Yeah. We respect your opinion, but we agree it's not for everybody.
Yeah, but I just wanted to say it was really great that I like that he jumped on the show specifically for the Comic-Con episode because that was very much my intention. I knew that there was going to be a lot of people out there that wanted the news from the convention, and like he said, there's not a lot of people that covered it, quite as thoroughly that I thought that we did, and that's what I wanted to do. And that's really what I want to do when big comic book superhero events come along. I want to make sure that we're on top of it because we're very much a news show. We like to get in some talking segments every once in a while and like maybe bring up specific topics, but we very much want to make sure people that are listening to the show are on top of it, and that's kind of what we strive for, which is great. And I love that people are writing in and letting us know that we're doing a good job.
Yeah, and telling us their opinions as well, because we know that we don't have the definitive ideas out there. Like Ghostbusters, another thing Jim wrote in on. We missed the Ghostbusters train. Me and Mike did. And Jim feels like he didn't. He's like, yeah, he wants to see more because like he wants to share it with his kids. And we don't have kids, and I think the next topic we're going to talk about, Star Wars, is something I want to share with my kids because that means something to me and my fiance both. And we share Star Wars, but like Ghostbusters isn't just something that we reach out for. But Star Wars, man, he agrees with us. Like and that's the big thing. That's gonna turn the world on its head this December. Like I imagine the day Star Wars comes out, business will stop. They will have to shut down the stock market because of that.
Oh, it's going to be an exciting time, and I get goosebumps when I think about it. And obviously, I have my my iconic Star Wars howl, which I'm glad that we didn't have any specific Star Wars related news this week because I think my howl needs a rest. I definitely shouldn't be busting it out on this episode specifically.
Yeah, well, it's funny because whenever I'm editing the show, I somehow find it when you do that. And my fiance busts out laughing every time she hears that. She's like, "You guys got really excited." I'm like, "Star Wars, honey, duh." Yeah. But thank you, Jim, for writing in on that. We love it. Write in. Anyone can write in anytime. Jim, you can keep writing to us. Tell us how wrong we are. That's cool too. But if you want to read some of Jim's work, you can head to his blog, nerdfest-mintier.blogspot.com. And we're going to link it in the notes, so you'll find it there. But thank you, Jim. We appreciate you a lot.
Yeah, it's super awesome. And I believe, if I remember right, he put somewhere in there that he wanted to write his own comic or create it.
I'm looking at the thing. I don't know. I feel like
I saw that anywhere because it's not like I didn't remember what I read. I just read it as soon as we got it earlier in the week. But I just wanted to say, if anybody out there is working on anything, like, don't give up on it. Like, you want to, like, if there's something in you that you got to get out, just make the thing and do it. You know, there's tons of people out there that are doing things with, like, little to no resources. And, you know, they're either drawing every day or writing every day.
Like,
you know,
like the show, cough, cough.
Yeah. You know, it doesn't take an investment. You know, you don't need to form an LLC or whatever to start making a content. There's like no barriers to entry anymore. You know, the only thing stopping you from making a podcast is, like, you know, a $25 microphone. The only thing stopping you from writing literally anything is just a pencil and a piece of paper. You don't even need a computer if you don't want to. And the only thing stopping somebody from, like, drawing a comic book is just like a pen, a pencil, you know, anything. So, you know, if there's something creative in you, just get it out.
Yeah,
it's nice.
He does say his goal was to write a great comic book, and we believe in you. We support you.
We will read it.
Yes, we will. But that's it for letters. The letter, I guess. No, nothing else new on our reviews and such. But where can they find you, Mike? Because I know they're gonna want to see how your throat's doing and your voice come this week.
Yeah, I'm sure that's gonna be a hot topic of news. But you know, you can follow me at Mike Royer Design on Twitter or Instagram, and as always, you can read my webcomics at pickledcomics.com. I'm hoping we get some news about that Civil War trailer possibly this week, and I'm sure I'll be tweeting about it. And I'll be getting my reactions out there. But Chris, if they want to keep up with you and all the crazy stuff that you're doing and all the mansions you seem to be visiting, where can they follow you?
You can follow me at Valdan, VALDAN on Twitter, and comicui.com, and you can read my stuff there. But I mean, that's a lot of news on this stuff this week. But where else can they get us, Mike? I mean, you know all the places we have things.
Yeah.
Give it to us.
Like always, I like to wrap up the show. I like to let everybody know that you can go to superheroslate.com, and that's where you can find the links to every place we put the show. We're on iTunes. We're on YouTube with awesome videos with images added in there. We're on SoundCloud, Tumblr. You can subscribe via email. Go old school. You can like us on Facebook, which is a great way to follow us. You can also follow us on Twitter. If you're a fan of the show, consider going on iTunes and leaving us a review. That's awesome. That helps us show up in the rankings. That helps people like Jim find us. And if you're a super fan, share the show with somebody. Spread the love. Let them know the Superhero Slate gospel.
Yeah, we are definitely. No, we're not a gospel. I'm sorry. I can't agree with that and keep a straight face. But yeah, it was a good show. I like today. I'm hoping we get some big news for next week.
Yeah, we pulled through. The voice held up. I think we did it at just the right time of the day. If it would have been any earlier in the day, I don't think I would have been able to manage it.
Yeah, I think if we go any later, I'm going to lose mine. So I think this is a good place to say goodbye.
All right. Goodbye, everybody. Have a good week, and we will see you next week.
Bye.
Thanks for listening, and don't forget to subscribe.